Hello, my name is Alastair Smith. I'm going to take you through a poster that describes an observation that Sarah Salo and I made during Sarah's PhD. This observation regards the MOCA, which is the Montreal Cognitive Assessment. This is one of the most widely used cognitive assessments in the world, and it looks at a variety of things. It looks at situation in the here and now, but also memory, attention, executive function, and so on. Is widely used as an opportunity to look at whether someone falls below cutoff on cognitive impairment, and is useful for looking at things like mild cognitive impairment or potential dementia. The most heavily weighted component of the MOCA is the clock drawing task. So participants or respondents are given a space on the form and they're asked to draw a clock from memory and set the time to 11:10. This is seen to be a useful test because it can be robust to a lot of other differences that might be based on culture or premorbid IQ or so on. But it does have a particularly large weighting for points in the MOCA, which means that if there's any particular error with the clock, then it stands to push someone close to the cutoff for cognitive impairment. And what we noticed in a study we were running was that a large proportion of our younger adult undergraduate sample were performing very poorly on the clock drawing task. Indeed, over a third of our sample of undergrads failed to draw an accurate clock. And we're hovering dangerously close to the cutoff for cognitive impairment. So we just thought we'd explore this a little more. So we've got 165 younger adults aged between 18 and 35 years. These are adventitiously recruited to run a number of studies that Sarah was running. But because these studies were comparing younger to older adults on spatial abilities, we gave the MOCA to everyone, including a smaller sample of older adults. We assessed everybody's clocks using the 3-point MOCA scoring method, so that's addressing the contour, the numbers, and the hands, so it's relatively coarse, but we also measured the clocks themselves and codified any of the errors. What we saw was that 29%, so 49 out of 165 younger adults failed to meet cutoff, so they scored less than 26 on the MOCA, and clock drawing performance was particularly poor and a large contributor to this. We can see some examples here in the image. In terms of the scoring, the contour was particularly poor for some people. The numbers were difficult for some people, but it was the placement of the hands that was the largest contributor to this factor. And so again, we can see in an example in the image where someone has swapped the hands around, so the hour and the minute hand are not pointing where they should. In some, there was no difference between the clock drawing errors between the older and the younger adults. And so whether we're looking at size or accuracy or any of these things, there seems to be some interesting issues. So what we can say in some is that younger adults are failing at hand placement, which seems to suggest that they're having some difficulty understanding the function of an analog clock and exactly what they should be doing. This shows that it is less valid than other components of the MOCA and suggests that as this younger generation ages, the clock drawing task as a whole is going to need to be re-evaluated in order to maintain its status. Thank you very much.